All right, let's dive right in. In this explainer, we're executing a ruthless, highly technical deconstruction of the early Chola Empire's socioeconomic structure. Our starting point is the Puharkandam, the first book of the ancient Tamil epic, the Silappatikaram. But look, today we are absolutely not reading it as a poem. We're analyzing it as a structural blueprint. We're going to take the text's exhaustive jewelry catalog and treat these items not as mere decorations, but as highly engineered artifacts of power, wealth, and massive systemic leverage. So, here is our blueprint for today. We'll start with the infrastructure of Puharkar, then the mechanics of aristocracy, move into acoustic engineering in dance, tackle metallurgy and portable assets, and wrap up with the inciting fracture. To truly grasp the scale of this societal collapse, we have to map the 10 chapters of the Puharkandam chronologically. It all begins with urban establishment and court debuts, escalates into this massive, highly calculated engineering display during the Indra festival, hits the acoustic fracture on the beach, and concludes with total economic ruin. What you're seeing here is a flawless, mechanical progression from peak prosperity to absolute devastation. Let's start with Section 1, the infrastructure of Puharkar, the macro geography of the capital. First up, you have to understand the Nagardhar. Who were they? Well, they were the elite, cosmopolitan merchant class driving the 2nd century Tamil maritime economy. Our central figures here, Kanagi and Kovalan, belong to this demographic. And let me be clear, they were not just average citizens. They were economic titans. Their wealth and operational scale gave them sociopolitical power that literally rivaled the ruling monarchy. Understanding this class is completely non-negotiable if we want to understand the true mechanics of this society. When you look at Puhark's maritime grid, you're looking at a mastery of structural engineering designed to dominate the 2nd century economy. The text explicitly details lattice-windowed coastal warehouses that were holding just massive global inventory. We see perfectly integrated foreign trade zones for Yavana or Greek and Arab merchants. The city was rigorously intentionally zoned into segregated mercantile and artisan districts. This high-end infrastructure supported a total international trade monopoly. It wasn't just a city, it was a machine built strictly for wealth extraction. Moving on to Section 2, the mechanics of aristocracy and the socioeconomic tools they used. This elite class utilized bodily adornment as a rigidly codified system of stratification. Look closely at the anatomical placement here. On the head, you have the Suti, Tudamani, and Kuzal, establishing lineage and purity right at the crown. On the ear, the Makara Kuzai, Kundalam, and Toibu, and around the neck, the Savadi, Aram, Pathakam, and Kotai. Guys, this was not just aesthetic decoration. This was dense gem setting functioning as a specific socioeconomic tool. It was essentially wearable geopolitics, cementing massive wealth accumulation through imported pearls and corals directly onto the physical body. I want to focus on the ultra-realistic macro details of the Makar Kujai for a second. It is a micro-engineered ear ornament, structurally modeled on the Makara, an oceanic predator. By wearing this specific fish-shaped design, the Nagarathar elite were making a calculated, highly visible statement of maritime authority. They were projecting absolute dominance over global trade routes. It was an uncompromising assertion of naval supremacy, forged entirely in solid gold. Which brings us to Section 3, Acoustic Engineering and Active Tech in Dance. The dancer Madhavi's jewelry functioned as active acoustic technology. On the arms, you've got the Thalvalai, Kingini, and Thondarai, which featured microbells that translated minor muscular movements into high-pitched auditory signals. On the waist, the Mekalai and Arangnan provided low-pitch rhythm control. And on the foot, the Salangu, Nupuram, Padagam, and Kazal. The Padagam's flat design gave her essential physical traction on the stage, while the Kazal actually signified martial rank. Together, these pieces acted as structural stabilizers and primary resonance chambers during her public exhibition. But the absolute apex of this engineering is the Makalai, functioning as a 32-strand waist belt. It was heavily embroidered with pearls. But its true purpose was strictly mechanical. It operated as a wearable acoustic metronome. The density and collision of the pearls dictated the exact structural tempo of the Vadakug dance. It was a masterful instrument of acoustic engineering that completely controlled the pacing of a very high-stakes performance. And the internal mechanics of the Kingini and the Salambu, it's a masterclass in differential gem weighting. Visualize the friction and refraction of internal gems striking hollow gold chambers. Think of the light refracting off those gems and the pure acoustic resonance they produce during movement. By altering the specific gems inside the salambu, the dancer dictated distinct pitch frequencies. This jewelry was exquisitely fine-tuned for precise acoustic output during kinetic movement. Section 4. Metallurgy and Portable Assets. High-yield fabrication. Let's break down the raw materials. The base structural metal was high-density gold, known as soan. The core acoustic resonators within the chambers were emeralds and padaragam, rubies. To mitigate friction and ensure long-term structural integrity, they utilized diamonds and andronalum, or sapphires. Finally, they integrated organic inlays of extracted pearls and corals. The seamless integration of these elements demands an incredibly advanced second-century mastery of gem setting and metallurgy. Make no mistake, this was not primitive crafting. This was high-level material science. Here's the really crucial takeaway. You have to contrast the aesthetic illusion with the true socioeconomic function. Think of the salambu not as simple jewelry, but as a wearable offshore bank account. A single gem-filled anklet possessed a valuation capable of rivaling an entire royal treasury. They represented concentrated wealth, highly liquid, portable assets specifically designed to be mobilized immediately in times of economic crisis or trade negotiation. 1,000 kalunjus. That is the exact weight of solid gold awarded by the Chola king to the dancer Madhavi following her flawless acoustic and physical performance. This wasn't just a reward, it was a catastrophic transfer of liquidity. This single massive transfer of elite assets initiated the total economic fracture of the merchant Kovalan's estate. It was literally the financial tipping point of the entire narrative. Which brings us to our final segment, Section 5, the inciting fracture. Let's trace the chronological progression of this fracture during the interfestival. It begins at dawn with the Udia Hill sunrise, a massive display of state and mercantile power. By midday, the city is showcasing Yavana goods, flexing its total trade dominance. In the evening, Kovalan and Madhave retreat to the beach for the Kanalvari song competition. And by night, the acoustic misinterpretation of these songs leads to immediate, permanent separation. So the very festival designed to ensure the city's prosperity became the exact mechanism of Kovalan's downfall. Now, a lot of people read the speech fracture as just a lover's quarrel. Actually, scratch that, it's way deeper than simple emotion. That's a very surface-level reading. Kovalan's departure from Puhar was the inevitable, mechanical result of complete economic depletion. It was the systemic liquidation of his elite portable assets and the resulting destruction of crucial domestic alliances. The financial mechanics of his life had collapsed, and therefore his social structure shattered. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. If a single pair of gem-filled anklets possessed the sheer economic mass and physical perfection required to eventually shatter a kingdom's entire justice system, who truly controlled the Chola Empire? Was it the monarch sitting comfortably on the throne, or the Nagaratha merchant controlling the global maritime grid? Think about the true socio-economic leverage of this class as we prepare to see the devastating consequences unfold in Madurai.